The desert air in California felt tangibly different tonight. Something completely unexpected was building under the bright, beaming lights of the BNP Paribas Open. Fans filing into the massive stadium at the Indian Wells Tennis Garden thought they were simply sitting down to watch another routine match between two rising stars. But within minutes, hushed whispers started moving rapidly through the crowd. Cell phones came out. Seasoned commentators leaned forward in absolute disbelief. And suddenly, the exact same question spreading across the stadium seats and exploding across social media was echoing absolutely everywhere. Was this really happening? Because on one side of the net stood Alex Eala, a young player many casual fans around the globe were still just discovering. On the other side stood Linda Nosková, undeniably one of the most dangerous, heavy-hitting young stars on the entire WTA Tour. On paper, almost every analyst expected raw power to win the day. But professional tennis rarely follows the written script. And from the very first rally, something about the energy on the court felt entirely different. The crowd inside the stadium could sense it, before the scoreboard even reflected it. Eala walked to the baseline with a quiet, icy focus that immediately caught the attention of the commentators. There was no panic. There was no hesitation. Just calm, unwavering intensity. The exact type of confident body language that experienced tennis fans know can sometimes signal that something massive is about to unfold. Noskova opened the match exactly the way many analysts confidently predicted she would. Her first serve thundered through the crisp desert air, landing deep and incredibly fast. It was the kind of massive serve that normally forces opponents into immediate survival mode. The Czech star has built a fearsome reputation for explosive power and the type of aggressive baseline tennis that can completely overwhelm opponents before they even have a chance to settle into the match. But Eala's very first return changed the mood instantly. Instead of retreating behind the baseline, she stepped aggressively forward and beautifully redirected the heavy pace with a sharp, blistering cross-court angle that forced Noskova out wide. The rally extended. Shot after shot, backhand to forehand. The crowd slowly leaned in as the point stretched far longer than anyone had anticipated. And when the rally finally ended with a perfectly placed laser beam backhand winner from Eala, the stadium responded with something highly unusual for an early first game point. A collective, echoing murmur. It wasn't deafeningly loud just yet, but it was incredibly curious. Because that single point hinted at exactly what viewers watching around the world were about to witness. This match was absolutely not going to unfold the way most people thought. As the opening games continued, Noskova desperately tried to impose her usual, punishing rhythm. Big serves, heavy ground strokes, quick points. But Eala stubbornly refused to let the rallies end quickly. Time after time, she extended the grueling exchanges, using brilliant angles and heavy spin to drag Noskova completely out of her comfort zone. And suddenly, the rallies started lasting longer. 5 shots, 8 shots, 10 shots. The commentators covering the match began noticing the brilliant shift immediately. They pointed out the immense patience at Eala's game, her high-level tactical awareness, and her fearless willingness to absorb massive power and seamlessly redirect it. It was exactly the kind of smart, defensive tennis that deeply frustrates big hitters. And frustration in tennis can change absolutely everything. By the third game, the crowd could feel the tension visibly rising. Noskova's raw power was certainly still there, but her smooth rhythm wasn't quite the same. A few forehands started landing just long. A heavy backhand clipped the tape and fell wide. They were small errors, but they were more than enough to slowly shift the momentum. Meanwhile, Eala remained remarkably composed. Her footwork looked incredibly light. Her eyes stayed totally locked on every single ball, and her confidence was visibly growing, point by agonizing point. Then came the first real turning point of the night. At deuce, during a highly crucial service game for Noskova, the rally turned into a brutal, lung-busting baseline exchange. Both players were trading heavy, punishing shots from corner to corner. The kind of rally that tests sheer physical endurance, just as much as pure skill. The crowd inside the stadium grew louder and louder with every single shot. When Eala suddenly changed direction down the line with an absolute laser of a backhand winner, the reaction was instantaneous. Gasps, roaring applause, and even the veteran commentators had to pause for a moment to catch their breath. Because that shot wasn't just a winner. It was a massive statement. And just like that, social media began completely exploding. Passionate fans watching from the Philippines were already flooding timelines with viral clips. Tennis fans all around the world started asking the exact same question. Was Alex Eala about to pull off something truly historic on one of the biggest stages in the sport? Inside the stadium, Noskova could feel the monumental shift too. She bravely tried to respond the exact way true champions do, by increasing the aggression. Her next service game featured two huge, booming aces that brought the stunned crowd back to life. The blistering power returned, the fierce intensity returned, and for a fleeting moment, it looked like the match might permanently swing back in her favor. But tennis is a game of fleeting moments, and the next massive moment belonged entirely to Eala. During a grueling, long rally late in the set, Noskova unleashed one of her signature, devastating forehands down the line. The shot looked like an absolutely guaranteed winner. But somehow, Eala sprinted across the baseline at warp speed, reached the ball at full, agonizing stretch, and flicked a desperate, defensive shot that miraculously landed just inside the line. The crowd absolutely erupted. Noskova, clearly surprised that the ball even came back, rushed her next shot and sent it sailing long. That was the exact moment when the energy in the massive stadium truly and permanently shifted. Fans who had arrived expecting to watch a straightforward, quick match were suddenly witnessing an absolute heavyweight battle. And battles create legendary drama. The commentators began deeply analyzing Eala's tactical brilliance. They pointed out exactly how she was using smart variation, mixing heavy spin, looping depth, and sharp angles to completely disrupt Noskova's established rhythm. Instead of foolishly trying to match power with power, she was actively forcing Noskova to think. And thinking under immense pressure can lead to critical mistakes. As the set continued, every single point started feeling incredibly heavy. The rallies became louder, the crowd reactions grew bigger, and cell phones in the stands captured highlight after highlight, as fans realized they might be witnessing a true breakout superstar performance. But the real drama was still building. Because tennis matches rarely turn on a single isolated moment. They turn on suffocating pressure, and the pressure was rising to a boiling point with every single game. Noskova, fiercely determined not to let control slip away, started pushing even harder. Her forehands became more aggressive, her serves more explosive. The terrifying power that made her such a dangerous player began appearing again in full force. For several games, the match turned into a thrilling high-stakes tug-of-war. One player striking with raw, overwhelming power, the other countering with surgical precision and icy patience. The rallies became intense battles of identity, and the crowd absolutely loved every single second of it. Then came the rally that would soon go totally viral. Midway through a highly crucial game, both players engaged in what felt like an endless, exhausting exchange from the baseline. The ball flew back and forth across the net like a metronome of pure tension. 15 shots, 20 shots, 25 shots. The crowd actually began clapping rhythmically with every single hit. When Eala finally ended the marathon rally with a delicate, perfectly disguised drop shot that barely cleared the net tape, the stadium completely exploded in deafening applause. Noskova couldn't even come close to reaching it. And suddenly, even the commentators were laughing out loud in sheer disbelief. Because magical moments like that are exactly why fans fall in love with tennis. It's not just the power, and it's not just the final score. It's the unbelievable drama. And tonight, drama was absolutely everywhere. Across social media platforms, clips of that specific rally started spreading instantly. Fans described it as one of the most wildly entertaining points of the entire tournament so far. Tennis analysts began deeply discussing the tactical chess match unfolding on the hardcourt. But what fascinated absolutely everyone the most was Eala's unbreakable composure. She wasn't playing like someone overwhelmed by the massive stage. She was playing like someone who fully, undeniably belonged there. The match continued building toward its most intense, nail-biting moments yet. Noskova flat-out refused to back down. Her competitive fire was obvious as she fought fiercely for every single point, pumping her fist after big serves and powerful winners. But Eala just continued answering every single challenge, every grueling rally, every high-pressure point, every single moment. And that's exactly when the atmosphere inside the Indian Wells Stadium reached an entirely new electric level. Because the crowd had officially chosen the storyline they wanted to see. They wanted to see exactly how far this incredible underdog performance could go. Every time Eala won a point, the deafening cheers grew even louder. Every time Noskova blasted a winner, the heavy tension returned. The match had completely transformed into something far bigger than just a standard early round contest. It had become a captivating story. A story about deep belief, about unbreakable resilience, and about the unpredictable, beautiful magic that makes professional tennis one of the most captivating sports in the entire world. And as the match continued deep into its most dramatic, heart-pounding stages, one massive question echoed louder than ever among millions of fans watching around the globe. Was this the exact moment when Alex Eala truly announced herself to the world on one of tennis's biggest stages? Because by now, the electric energy inside the stadium and across the entire tennis world was completely impossible to ignore. Something incredibly special was unfolding in the California desert. And absolutely everyone watching knew it.